All right, welcome in. Happy Saturday. It's last call here, people, as we've got loaded slates in Major League Baseball. Loaded card in my neck of the woods for the UFC 314 here tonight, not to mention the 89th running of the Masters. No, I'm kidding. That's the Kentucky Derby. We're going to be talking the Masters, though, with our good friend Sean Alvarez. We've got Bryan, Leonard coming up, going to talk all sorts of Major League Baseball. Want to send a shout out to those of you guys hanging out in the chat rooms here today. I do have a big favor to ask of those of you guys joining us here on this Saturday in just a couple of minutes. I'll get to that, but we got plenty of stuff going on here today, plenty of tickets to cash, so we're going to dive in the best way we know how. And that's with our main man, VR. Gianni the Greek in the house, ready to go. I mean, damn, Yanni, I can walk across to the building for UFC 314, man. Getting ready. They are pumped down here in Miami. It's about time they're excited for something here.
Yeah, that's a huge card. I mean, usually the Miami card, every year they look to stack it. And, you know, once in a while you'll get a fight that falls out or a guy that gets injured. Not this year, man. This one is really, really stacked and it's getting a ton of attention and, more importantly, a ton of betting action already. Usually you don't get a lot of UFC money. You get it early when the lines first come out. You see a lot of sharp bettors, a lot of MMA specialists that look to take advantage of it. The limits are low, but you see big line moves because of it. And then it doesn't come in until fight day. But all week, this card has been getting bet, even by recreational bettors. And I think they're going to get a ton more volume today. March Madness is gone. It's over. Now all we have is, you know, Major League Baseball, and there's not even NBA. Like, everybody's awaiting more or less the playoffs. Hockey's getting real low volume from what I've seen. Even baseball. In fact, we've only bet so far for baseball, 2 sides, 2 totals. Hasn't even gotten a lot of sharp action so far today. A little hockey. Not surprising. It is towards that end of the season, looking to take advantage of some of the must-win situations, and the narrative is what they're looking to take advantage of. But it seems like today is all about UFC 314 card, and I'm excited about it too. This is a good card.
I agree. I think it's a great card, great names, excitement down here. Guys looking very forward to this, but you know, we got 15 games in Major League Baseball set up here today. You mentioned the volume's a little low this time of year, but we all know how that works out. It usually happens in the month of April with baseball. It's a little slow because we all know the NBA and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are just around the corner. But are you seeing any early action today with this slate of games here, VR, in Major League Baseball, since there's no NBA games?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why baseball is going to get most of the, you know, action that it wouldn't usually get. You're right. The first week, opening day, and those first few series get a lot of attention. And then people kind of back off, especially if the favorites don't do well early on and people don't do great betting them. They kind of back off and wait for the playoffs. But here's what we got going on. So far, this is what we got down on. Last night, we bet the Phillies at minus 140 and 145, forgive me, 140, 145. Then this morning again at 150, 155. Now, you want to be careful, make sure this game doesn't get scalped because of that. There's a lot of scalps, especially on a day like this where you don't have the money spread out amongst NBA as well, because the Phillies are one of the most one-sided bet public games as well. They're getting, like, I'm looking in the back end, they got over 90% of not just the tickets, but the money as well. So if this line keeps going, they're going to set themselves up with a beautiful scalp. If you laid minus 140, 145, and now you could get plus 145, 150, they're going to do that all the time. So keep your eye out on that. We also bet over 905. That was this morning, over 8.5 on Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. As soon as it went to 9, everyone backed off. Remember, those are one of those key numbers that we look to take advantage of. Same thing with Minnesota, 914. Minnesota got bet at minus 110, minus 115, and minus 120 again this morning. And then last night we bet the over 8.5 at even money and minus 120. And when it got to 9 at plus money, we took a little of that this morning. That doesn't usually happen. Usually the overnights, they're taking advantage. I'll keep saying it like a broken record. They're taking advantage of the 7, the 9, and the 11, trying to get on the right side of those. And then they usually don't follow through. But this is one of those spots where at plus money, they think it's a coin flip at worst for it to go over 9. And Minnesota is one of those teams to look out for because they started out so bad that bettors started fading them. And I rest assured, I'm telling you now, when this season's over, they will win their division. Like there are in that, when it comes to that division, they're as stacked as it comes. It's going to come down to them in Detroit. And my bet, I'll lay minus 150 right now, that because I think they win it 2 out of 3 times. So I'll have a nice edge laying 150 that Minnesota ends up ahead of Detroit when all the dust settles. And I talked about it on WagerTalk today, talked about it in my steam room yesterday, and I'll talk about it again today. Look to take advantage of the regression and progression that we have time for it to happen in baseball. These teams that get out really, really hot, it's not sustainable. You're not going to be able to win 65, 70% of your games, 80% of your games that you see some of these hot teams that got off to that kind of start. Just like you're not going to also lose 20%, 80% of your games, 75% of your games. The best team in baseball is going to be the LA Dodgers as far as record goes. They're going to win 60% of their games, maybe 61% if they have have some good luck and don't get, injured. The pitching staff stays healthy. Every other division is going to be won by a team that wins between 57, 58, 59% of their games. That's what happens in baseball. You can go back to last year, go back to the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, and the year before that. And you will see that the teams that win the division barely win 6 out of 10 games, barely win 60% of their games. So look for those teams. Don't be afraid to fade the good teams. Now, the Dodgers, they're off and running hot. Again, you may not want to stay in front of them. But every other team, I'm telling you, is not going to win 60% of their games. So any team that's out there having won 70, 75, 80% of their games, look for spots to bet against them. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today or this week or even this month, but they will regress. That is a certainty, just like those teams that, maybe at 20% right now. That's not going to happen. Last year, Miami may have won 35% of their games. You'll get like those bottom dwellers, those 1 or 2 teams that just have a horrific season that win about 35% of their games. But every other team, even the last place team, gets to around 40. So the difference between first place and last place isn't as huge as you think. And the difference between first, second, and third and fourth is usually within like 5 percentage points. Like the first place team wins 58% of their games. The second place team wins 56. The third place team wins 55. The fourth place team wins 52. Like they're right there. It happens every single year in baseball. And that's why sharp bettors live for it, because most of the teams end up being overvalued. And yet recreational bettors just want to bet favorites. And I'll rattle them off real quickly. Here's where all the money's going today. They're betting the Phillies early this morning, and they're tying them into everything. They're betting Arizona, a minus 170 favorite against Milwaukee. They're betting the Dodgers. They're betting them every day. They're putting them in parlays every single day. They're betting them run line every single day. They're betting them on the money line every single day. They're betting Boston also early, road favorite. Be cautious there. And Houston's getting all the money, and Seattle. Those teams are all one-sided. And no surprise, they're all favorites that have come out doing well. Don't be afraid to bet dogs. Do not be afraid to bet the dogs in baseball. You don't even have to hit 50% and you can make a nice profit. But you got to be prepared to throw more tickets out than you're going to cash. If you're not prepared for that and you're not built for that, then maybe, don't bet baseball. Because if you're just going to bet favorites, you're going to get buried. Like I said, these teams will not win 70% of their games. They're not going to win 80% of their games. You can't go laying, 200 chalk every single day and think they're going to cash, because the Dodgers have been on that kind of streak. It's unsustainable, and most end up getting in trouble because all they do is parlay those favorites. They put in 4 or 5 team parlays, and there's always going to be that 1 or 2 dogs that get in there and win the game. So don't be afraid to bet the dogs, and don't be afraid to bet those bad teams, those ones that have come out of the gate that look horrific. Because again, no team's going to end up only winning 25% of their games. It just doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. It's a long, long season. They play 162 games. They play for months. They'll be playing until the fall gets here, through the summer. And to stay motivated every single day is almost impossible. So you may have a first place team, but they just don't feel like playing that series. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. So do not be afraid to fade the best teams. Do not be afraid to bet the good teams, and look to bet dogs instead of just looking to bet favorites, and you'll make some money betting baseball.
Yeah, you know what it is? I'm so glad you said that too, Gianni. We have, do you ever see or any sort of money pre-flop on series prices? Because You're right. You may not want to take, you don't want to spend all day at $2 favorites here because you understand that, yeah, the dogs are going to cash tickets. You got to pick your spots. But any value, do you see any sort of handle coming in on series prices during the week here in Major League Baseball?
No, that's a great question. And I don't. People don't attack the series a lot. And even the betting syndicates, it's rare. I mean, like maybe like 5 series a month is what I'll see in the back ends. Like, and again, they're playing every single day. So that's like, maybe 10% of the time are they ever betting the series. And I think it's a good way to attack it. I really do. And not enough bettors really do take advantage of it. They'll bet the no run or run first inning. That gets a ton of money because it's over within the first 15, 20 minutes. So they know whether they're going to cash their ticket or trash their ticket. So that's one of the most popular bets where before the prop game became so big, it would be like they would bet a lot on the runs, hits, errors. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like over runs, hits, and errors, under runs, hits, and errors. Now, though, the run first inning or no run first inning seems to be the prop bet of the year. That's what everybody's looking to bet. And again, you get your results really quickly. And I think that's why they like to do it. And I even see a lot of the betting syndicates. That's a way for them to get more money down. Got to remember, limits are low. It's hard to get a lot of money down in baseball. You could walk into any casino on a Sunday afternoon in November and bet 100 dimes, pull out 100 dimes in cash from a paper bag, and they're going to take it on an NFL game. They're not even going to ask you a question. The most they're going to do is ask for your social security number because you're betting over $10,000 in cash. They got to fill out a CTR. Otherwise, they're not even going to flinch. But go try to bet 10 dimes on a Major League Baseball total, and you're going to have to get verification for 15 different managers behind you. They're not going to want to take it because the volume just isn't there to offset the risk. So you don't get that happening. So what a lot of the times what I'm seeing that at least the betting syndicates have been doing is they get more creative and they bet what we call the derivatives. And that means if they want to bet a game over, let's say they go over 8.5, but now it's 9. A lot of the value's been extracted. 9's, one of the most important numbers. So they back off there. And what they'll do is now they'll bet the first 5 over. Now they'll bet, run in first inning. Now they'll bet the over in run, hits, and errors, meaning that the probability that those things happen are a lot greater if the game goes over. Like if there's going to be 9 runs or more scored, then probably a higher probability that the over also comes in on run, hits, and errors. That there is going to be a run in the first inning. Like that's a way that they're using to get a lot more money down because it is one of those sports where there's a ton of value because you have a huge sample size. Again, we've already had an NFL season. And how many weeks are we in baseball? By the midsummer, by the time the All-Star break gets here, they have such a huge sample size of data that you can start to trust the law of big numbers. Like I said, regression and progression happens, but it doesn't always happen in sports with small schedules. Like in the NFL, we talk about it every year. Oh, this team's 10-2, but on paper, they're really an 8-win team. So you're expecting them to regress, but there's only a couple games left. That may never happen. Same thing with college football. They play 11 games, 12 games maybe. So if a team comes out and they're 10-0, and you're like, but on paper, they're not even a 500 team. They should be fading. There's not enough time for them to fade. But in baseball, there is. That's why I said, go back and look at the standings. Every team regresses and progresses towards the mean. You have the math working in your favor because you have the law of big numbers. They're playing 162 games, and it's like flipping a coin. 10 flips, you could get 8 heads and 2 tails. Flip it 162 times, and I promise you, you're going to be much closer to 81 and 81. 80 heads, you may get 75 and 83 or whatever, but it's not going to be where you get 70% of heads, 30% of tails. It's just not going to happen. That's right. The law of big numbers. So that's what's good with baseball. And there's other ways to take advantage of it. The props, like if you miss a number of going over or going under and you're like, now the value's been extracted, look at those derivatives. Look at the run or no run first inning. Look at the run, hits, errors over. Look at the first 5. Those kind of props that if the game does go over or under, that's exactly what should happen.
Love it. And baseball 162 game, season, the ultimate grind, guys. So it is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. VR, before we get you out of here, by the way, is there a steam room today? What do we got going on with you?
No, we had it yesterday. We went off yesterday, a good 2-hour one where we covered the whole Major League Baseball. I was getting a lot of live bets throughout, a lot of college baseball. That's where the money is. I'm telling you, a college baseball, AAA baseball, there's just so much gold there. That's why every day, right now, I'm number one in baseball and at WagerTalk, and it's not because we're crushing Major League Baseball. I mean, we're up there as well, but it's because of all the college baseball that comes in every single day. That's what I get most excited about, that we've been crushing these college baseball totals like stealing. So hopefully that continues. So we had the steam room yesterday, but Tuesday will be class number 4 of blackjack. And this is where they start becoming the favorite. This week they already learned how to count, how to turn a running count into a true count. And this week they learn how to bet size correctly, how many units they need, how to bet based on what the count is. Like now they start to get really dangerous where they could walk into any casino and feel confident they're the favorite. I told them by the 5th class, you will be the favorite. And so far, they're really learning well and quickly. I could just tell by the questions. The whole class is like up to speed, and they're there, man. They're like 2 classes away from being able to walk into a casino, know which tables to look for, know what decisions to make, and know how to bet size. So I'm really excited about this class coming up on Tuesday. But today I got UFC. I got a 5% going. 72% over the last 365 days on those. I've only released 22 of them, up over 45 units, over 40% ROI, and I love this 5% going today. I've been very selective with those in MMA, but I fired another one. And of course, I'm going to be looking at the baseball as well, because this will be one of those days where the saturated money comes in from recreational bettors because they don't have the NBA betting market, and they're not really interested too much in hockey until the playoffs come. Because of that, you'll get some value more in Major League Baseball today than you probably did over the last couple of days or weeks.
Love it. There is a lot going on here today, but you want to make it profitable, guys, just head over to Gianni's page now over at WagerTalk.com. Hop on board. Make sure you visit his page. It's not too late to become part of the steam room. And, of course, that blackjack course. I've heard nothing but amazing things, Gianni. So great stuff there, brother. Good luck today. Keep crushing it. We appreciate it as always. We'll see you during the week on Wager Talk today. All right, shout out to the chat rooms. Let's run this down here, Dan. Chaz Stokes in the house. Good to see you. Rob L. Michael Fellows here. Rochester Johnny. Damn it, looking on the back of milk cartons for you. Where you been, my man? 31 Buttons is in the house. Titan CT. David Havley. I love David. Looking forward to tonight to having a million Woodfords and to scream at the television in front of his wife's family like a homeless man looking for crack. Listen, we can do better than Woodford, my man. 2 words, whistle pig. You'll thank me later. We got more on UFC. We've got more on Major League Baseball coming up for you guys as Bryan Leonard is going to hop in the hot seat and answer any questions on any games that you guys have coming up here today. We're also going to talk Masters in just a couple of minutes here as the leaders won't tee off until this afternoon. Still opportunities to hop in on the Masters. Sean Alvarez will stop in and give us the update there. All right, let's go to the risk room if we can. Andrew Babakitis coming in here from the Westgate. And this is you're on the other side of the country. I'm in Miami, so we're looking forward to this UFC card here tonight, Andrew. What are you guys seeing right now? You seeing a lot of handle? You seeing a lot of last-minute bets? What's going on?
Yeah, this is an awesome card, obviously. Jealous that you're in Miami for this one. We only get a few of these a year. So, yeah, the handle's been terrific so far on this card. We'll start off with the main event, Volkanovski versus Lopez. We opened up the fight, Volkanovski minus 160 at the beginning of the year. Right away, we were taking some heavy handle on that Diego side, on that dog side, multiple 5-figure bets. The price went all the way down to a straight pick of minus 110 both ways. But this week, there's been a ton of Volkanovski money. The price is going right back up to where we opened the thing at. We're sitting minus 150 here in Vegas. So it's been a real fun fight to book because there's strong opinions on both sides of the fight, really sharp handle on both sides of the fight. So that's been an easy one for us to book so far. The co-main event's been another fun one. We opened that one at minus 110 on both sides at the beginning of the year as well. And the money has been coming in pretty heavy on Patty so far. You can kind of see some places are up to minus 170 now on Patty Pimblett. We're sitting minus 160. But this is another one where we're getting some good Michael Chandler money as well, for sure.
I love it. I'm also seeing, it's interesting here, Silva and Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell, not exactly a fan favorite here as of late, but I saw this as much as a $3 favorite for Silva earlier in the week, and now I'm seeing all the money's come in on Mitchell here. Are you seeing any action on that fight?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We opened this thing, Gene Silva minus 320. Right away, we were taking some heavy handle on Bryce Mitchell from some respected bettors at the book, plus 260. You're not really seeing that price anymore. Like, as you said, it's already moved about 100 cents on that plus money side. We're sitting plus 170 on Bryce Mitchell now. So, but as of the last couple days, as the price has shifted so much, we have been getting some Gene Silva money more at that $2 price range. So, man, this card has been a lot of fun because, like Johnny said earlier, usually you don't see this much handle on these UFC cards. So, from top to bottom, there's a lot of sharp action, a lot of close lines, not too many long money lines other than the Chase Hooper price. But yeah, this has been a real fun card to book.
This is great. Can anybody at the Westgate explain to me, why is Jim Miller still fighting? Just asking. I mean, there's like laws in Florida about beating the crap out of the elderly here. Like, I do not understand why this man is on the card at 41 years old is beyond me. Question coming in from the chat, though, if we can, Andrew. It is, I believe David wants to know, what fighter does the book need the most? And who is it that you like the most here tonight? What's your eye going to?
Yeah, so I would say this card in particular, there's been a lot of sharp action on a lot of the dogs. So at the beginning of the week, usually me and a few of the guys who are real into the UFC will go over the whole card, kind of give our opinions, break down our thoughts on the card. But it's always nice to be reassured by the sharp customers. That's usually what we're booking to need. If we're getting big handle from these sharp guys, we want to win with them. We want to gain their trust to put big wagers in with us, and we want to win with the smart guys. That's kind of our job, right? So there's been sharp action on Pitbull within the last couple of days. A lot of these dogs we're going to look to end up needing. So in particular, if I had to choose one fight that I like the most, I would probably say, oh man, I'm riding with Volk. I know that's a favorite, but to see the price go down to a pick and a lot of the sharp money come in on Volk this week, I'm riding with Volk to get his belt back this week.
Yeah, I like him too, especially if he gets out of that first round. It's over for Lopes, that's for sure there. All right, how about across the board, Andrew? Major League Baseball, Masters action. You seeing anything that's pushing the needle here today for you guys?
I know we got some guys that are, degenerate golf gamblers at the book. They love some golf. So, yeah, it's going to be on all the big screens today. I know NBA is winding down. We got, one day left tomorrow for the NBA.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, golf today is going to be a big thing along with the UFC. I don't have too much to give you guys until I'm at the book for the golf side. But, yeah, UFC, this is a big day. And if you guys are looking to stop in, we're doing a reduced juice on the main event. So today would be a good day to get in on that fight if you're interested in that fight.
Love it. Andrew, always a pleasure, brother. We appreciate the knowledge as always. We'll talk to you again next week here on Last Call. And I'm pretty sure he just called golf bettors degenerates, but that's all right. We'll have to rewind the tape there. All right, guys. Well, I mean, he's not half wrong. Look at who our next guest is here. Sean Alvarez in the house. So, and I can assure you, Sean's got a few golf bets rolling here this week in the Masters. And Sean, can you believe it? I just got message, and this is where we need you guys in the chat room to do a couple of things for us. We don't ask a lot here, but I'm going to ask this of you guys, and I need your help. We are just about 500 subscribers away from 200,000. So if you guys have not done so already, and if you have, we certainly appreciate it. But then, of course, tell your friends, tell your family, your coworkers. I need 500 subs here by the end of the weekend. Would be absolutely fantastic. And then we all throw a party and we celebrate, and Sean bartends. So that's not an event you're going to want to miss at all. I'm telling you that right now. So please hit that subscribe and like button if you haven't done so already. We certainly appreciate you guys across the board hanging out with us each and every Saturday, and all during the week for that matter, at WagerTalk.com. You guys rock. All right, don't forget, drop your Major League Baseball questions in. Bryan Leonard coming up. He'll run down the card for you, answer as many questions as he can. And of course, yes, David, keep an eye out for Whistle. You can thank me next week, David. Just come on back next week, and let's see how WhistlePid worked over Woodford there. Talk to me here, Sean. We have got quite the leaderboard going on here at the Masters, do we not? These are some big names, some chalky-ass names, but some big names nonetheless here. Justin Rose still up at the top. DeChambeau, lurking. You got Scotty just a couple of strokes back, and Rory. And do we take Rory today? What was he, 3-1, I think, somewhere along those lines this morning? If you haven't bet him, is now the time to bet him if you're going to get him at all?
I mean, I think that really kind of goes to, what you're exposed to, what not, and, what your exposure is lying with what the leaderboard looks like. And I thought you hit the nail on the head. We don't see a lot of leaderboards that look like this at the Masters. We usually kind of get a couple no-name guys that are, throwing their hat in the mix. But yeah, we're stacked up top. And, if Rory can just kind of figure out his way off the tee, he's got some of the best approach numbers as far as strokes gained against this field. And, those are really correlated stats to winning at the Masters. And, we talk about Justin Rose. He's averaging almost 4 strokes gained putting against the field. And Augusta National is not somewhere that can be really sustained. And if you're not hitting the ball close, you're really just crossing your fingers and hoping for a 2-putt. So I really kind of hope or think that Justin Rose kind of comes back to the field like we saw yesterday with a 1-under round. So I do think that there's some value to be had on this betting board, even if you get a little away from the big names up top on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and listen, there's so much golf left to go as we get ready. I think the leaders, right, don't tee off till after 2 o'clock Eastern time here today. So there are still a ton of matchup bets and those types of things that are available in those markets on the Masters. And it's ultimately going to come down to, in most people's mind, and I saw Rory at plus money against Scheffler here today. And it just feels like Rory's in better form than what Scotty. Scotty feels like he's still trying to figure some things out. He knows the course better than anybody, but he's still overvalued as far as I'm concerned. Rory at plus money on a head-to-head for round 3 seems like it's worth taking a stab at, no?
Yeah, not only that, but how lucky can Scotty get? He hits the ball 20 feet over the green on 12. It completely disappears, and it came out fast enough to where it almost looked like somebody was in there and threw it out. And instead of making bogey or double, he chips in for birdie. So, we're really looking at a 3-shot swing. He should really be, 2 under. And then he snap hooks his drive on 18. Joe and I, we know about the snap hooks off the tee, but,
yes.
He gets lucky there, winds up getting a stance, can chip out and, catches a little bit of a break there. So luck's definitely on Scotty's side. And, like I said, the way Rory's hitting the ball, all he really has to do is figure it out off the tee. And, Augusta, while there is some tight fairways, for the most part, you don't have to be that accurate off the tee. It's really the second and third shot into the greens that you have to kind of lean on. And there are big numbers out there. We saw Brooks Koepka, sitting comfortable under the cut line at even par, 2 off there, 2 under the cut, and goes bogey quad to miss the cut by 5. So we're talking about a major champion winner that, makes an 8 on 18. So there's big numbers out there. You really kind of have to be dialed in on your wedge game. And yeah, Rory's at the top of the list. not only in round 1 and round 2, but he's been doing it kind of going into the Masters. So I definitely like plus money on Rory. It's a hold your nose. Hopefully Scotty doesn't go low, but the way Rory's playing, I do like the value there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, listen, on the first round, I mean, Scheffler made about 300 feet worth of putts. I mean, come on, that's coming back to bite him here. All right, so we got the Masters here today for you here, and you knew this was coming by David Fink here. And by the way, we were just talking about this. Get ready, Marco D'Angelo, myself, Sean Alvarez. We will, of course, be doing our annual Kentucky Derby preview. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks. But did you have any early leans, Sean, that you were looking at in the Derby? Any names you want to throw out here for folks in the future market?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the future market goes, today is the last Derby prep. So we should have the exact field, odds, obviously not the starting gate, but we can kind of dive into the PPs a little bit and see kind of where the pace lies. Because if you watch the Derby in recent years, they've been cooking up front. So you don't necessarily want somebody that's, going to lean on that where, that's kind of the likes of Rodriguez or Citizen Bull, two Bob Baffert trainers that I really do think are going to kind of cook up on the front end. I don't think he's being overlooked, but I really liked what Journalism did. It's going to be a little bit more of a shorter price on this horse, being the third highest in the Derby prices. But I do like the way that this horse can come off the pace. And with a 20-horse field and some of these horses having really quick footing out of the gate, I'm really looking more on somebody that's going to be a middle ground, or not necessarily a deep closer, but somebody that could come from off the pace. And Journalism ran a great race last time out. Obviously, maybe needs to step up a little bit from there, but even if he can replicate that effort in the Kentucky Derby, I think he's going to be really, really tough to beat for Michael McCarthy.
Oh, I love it. Yes, and Bob Baffert is apparently allowed back in the state of Kentucky this year, so this should be very interesting. He's getting ready to go in scorched earth there, Sean Alvarez. What is up on your page at WagerTalk.com here today? You still got some master stuff? You got Major League Baseball rolling today as well?
Yeah, so like I said, it's the last day for Kentucky Derby prep. So there's an 11-race card at Keeneland, two graded stakes races, including the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley going 1 mile and a 16th on the Keeneland turf course. So that's up on my page. First post is 10 a.m. I'll be working on the scratches as soon as I get out of here, and I will have a baseball package up very shortly after that. So go over to my page, wt.buzz/SA. Go, dive in on some horse racing and some baseball with me.
Love it. It is ultimately the degenerate's paradise. That's what we like to call ourselves here. Sean, we love you, brother. We'll see you again, of course, next week here on Last Call as we get a little bit closer to Derby Day. Shout out to you guys hanging out with us. Titan CT again. Good to see you. Charles Donald wants to know about college baseball. Hang in there, Charles. Christopher Kozo, hang in there. We'll get some of those for you. But we want to dive into Major League Baseball. But again, first, want to ask you guys, hit that like button and the subscribe. 500 subscribers away from 200K, guys. It would mean a lot if you go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Shout out to those of you guys joining us on Instagram as well as TikTok and X. Make sure you hit that follow button. Become part of the WagerTalk TV family. All right, 15 games in Major League Baseball here today. Let's get at it as we welcome in our good friend Bryan Leonard in the house, ready to roll here on a huge card today here. Bryan starts, I believe, a little after 2 o'clock Eastern time. We got a couple of games lined up. The Twins in Detroit will kick it off. St. Louis and Philly, I think, are the 2 early games. Minnesota, could you suck any more? I mean, honestly, could you be any worse that you lost that game 7-6 last night? Unbelievable. But some of these early games here today, any one of them, anyone tickle your fancy here, Bri?
Well, I was on the show the entire time, so I heard Gianni talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. Sanchez is on the mound, and he's been a guy going all the way back to spring training. He's made some changes in the since last year. He has been unhittable. And you're going up against Mikolas for St. Louis, who's a guy who he's an innings eater, but he's not a good innings eater. And it's getting to the point anymore when we call somebody an innings eater, it's basically a veteran who isn't very good anymore. I'm not willing to pay the current price on Philadelphia. I'm seeing as high as 170 at DraftKings, but that's the side I would prefer in the early game. Maybe play St. Louis team total under. I think that's probably a better way to take a look at this because Sanchez has just been terrific. St. Louis has basically got the same offense as they had last year. Last year they were terrible. This year, in the small sample size, they're great. I am going to tend to believe in longer sample sizes. So I think Philadelphia and their pitching staff will do a really good job here in that early game against St. Louis.
Yeah, feels like a Phillies team total in play here as well, bro. I mean, Miles Mikolas has been he ran out of steam last year. He was getting crushed. He's getting crushed early this year, and you got to think Philadelphia with a good night's sleep is going to come back and even the score here against St. Louis. But that brings up a good question because the other team that they had to play into the middle of the night because of that rain delay was Atlanta. And it didn't work out well for them having to go to Tampa yesterday as well. So do we look for bounce backs with these teams here today?
I don't know about Atlanta. A.J. Smith-Shawver, a couple years ago, he came up and he was highly touted. But now that we've seen a lot of his numbers at the major league level, he's an average pitcher. He's not one of their guys that they're looking to promote as the season goes on. But they need somebody to come in because they have been so lousy pitching-wise so far. Going up against Rasmussen, I really like Rasmussen. When he's healthy, he is excellent. He's probably a top 30 pitcher in Major League Baseball when healthy. The news out of this one is the wind is blowing out, and we've heard this all off season. It's obviously it's basically a Yankee Stadium clone out in Tampa. The wind blows out to right field, and it's a short right field. Well, the wind is blowing out to right field today from left to right, from home to right. So I gave my clients the over in this one. It's 8.5 right now, going up. I'm seeing it up to 120 right now on the over. This Atlanta offense is too talented, and they've got a couple guys back now from injuries. I think they'll have more success, but I think Tampa Bay will also have a lot of success against Smith-Shawver in this one. I played the over.
Yeah. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And listen, I don't think we know who's pitching for the Athletics tonight, but Peterson on the mound for the Mets. I saw it open at 9.5. I think it's still there, depending on who comes in there, Bri. But there are a couple of ballparks that it's such a unique situation this season, is it not? How do we not just keep looking at overs? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The market hasn't adjusted. Another over last night with the Mets and A's.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw one place or two places that touched 10 in the last couple of days on these Oakland games, and they opened up around 8 coming into the season. That was just bad numbers. I don't know why the lines makers did not see that coming, as everybody we have talked to said that this was going to be a hitter's ballpark. So there has been some overs there, and they're doing it. The A's are doing it without Rooker having a good start to the season. He's their big power guy.
Yep.
So that's something to be concerned about when you're looking to bet the unders. Peterson's done a good job. I was totally against Peterson just a few years ago. I didn't think he had anything. He's made some adjustments. He's gotten to be a better pitcher, and he could be trusted now. But I liked the Mets yesterday. That was one of my plays for my clients. But until we know who the A's are going to throw, it's kind of tough to do. But really, who do the A's have that they can throw in this game that is any better than any other? Yesterday they had Sears on the mound. They just have a poor starting rotation overall. Bidos has some success, and he's the guy that they think is going to do a little bit better. But the A's are not known for their starting pitching. And so if you're looking to run trends, I mean, over the 9, I even seen a 9 minus 14 at Pinnacle. So it's even a better number. So play that over 9 and play it until you get beat a couple times. You know, it's a lot of times it takes a while for the lines makers to catch up, and it's sure taken them a long time this season.
I agree 100%. We saw, I know a question came in there, Titan CT, Brewers Diamondbacks, and of course, I believe Corbin Burns on the mound for the D-backs coming off an outing in which he just got lit up last time out. But he is at home. Arizona got blanked by the Brewers last night, 7-0, only managed 4 hits. What do we do? Do we trust Burns in an Arizona uniform at home against this Brewers team, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think Corbin Burns right now is one of the most overrated pitchers in Major League Baseball. Didn't like him coming into the season. Last year, he wasn't very good. That's one of the reasons why Baltimore didn't go out to try to keep him, and they didn't bring anybody in. So that was the Orioles' mistake in that part. But I think they saw something in Burns that I saw. He's not as dominant as he was in the past. Don't want to lay that kind of number with him. Patrick is a guy from Milwaukee who they just brought in as a spot start. He didn't think he was ready to pitch in the majors, and he's been really good after 2 starts. Now, I see this a lot of times with lefties coming down up from the minors that they have get off to a nice start. He's a righty, so he's done very well. I don't know how long we can count on that. Arizona's got that great offense, but I don't want Burns. It opened 8.5 to the 20. Now we're seeing 9s. If I had to play this game, I would expect this to be a higher scoring game. You can get plus money or pretty close to it playing over 9 in this game, and that's probably the way I would take a look at it. A way to fade Burns and also kind of fade Patrick after his first 2 starts, which are much better than what we expected.
Like it. All right, last night here coming in, Jack Falk pointing out the fact that the White Sox beat the living snot out of the Red Sox last night. Boy, that was a little unexpected, or maybe it shouldn't have been there. But what about today? Is it first 5 at this point here with them? And I believe that it's Fitz versus Martin Perez there for the White Sox. I'm still seeing 7.5, about $1.50 there for Boston. What are you thinking here, Bryan?
Well, you talked about the first 5. The only time I want to play a first 5 on a bad team is if they've got a pitching advantage. And Martin Perez, we've seen him for, decades? I mean, he seems to be around forever. We know what he is. He's gotten off to a really good start this year. But from what I've been able to read, he hasn't really done anything different. It isn't like he's made some pitch changes or anything. He's just pitched well and been a little bit fortunate doing it. So I don't know if I want to play the White Sox with him on the mound. Fitz was the guy coming into the season. Last year, he didn't show very well, and he wasn't considered one of Boston's future pitchers. But he did some changes in the offseason. His fastball is about 3 miles an hour faster than it had been in the past. In spring training, he really lit it up. I really liked him. It hasn't turned out that way in the pros so far. In the regular season, he hasn't been that well. But against this White Sox batting order, which is gone without their best player the last couple of days, their only good hitter on the entire team, this is not a White Sox team I'm looking to score some runs against, or score runs with. So I prefer Boston in this one. And you mentioned first half compared to the full game. Usually you got your bad teams, your Colorados, your White Sox, your Miamis. They can't afford to have very good bullpens, and Chicago doesn't. They decided they were going to bring Clevenger in as a closer. That experiment blew up in the first couple of weeks of the season already. Don't want the White Sox here. If I'm going to play Boston, I play them for the entire game. The Boston bullpen is much better than Chicago's is.
Loaded Slate here today, Bryan. Are you locked in with Major League Baseball? What kind of plays, what can folks get over at your page today at WagerTalk.com? Not to mention, pretty loaded slate in the NHL as well.
Yeah, I'm probably passing in the NHL from now through the end of the regular season. It's just too many guys that are being rested. You're seeing it as the day goes on. I don't want to be invested in hockey until really the last hour before the game. If you're going to play hockey, just wait, see who's going to be in the lineup. And that's something that I take a look at. Baseball, I've got 3 plays up for clients right now. I gave you one of them. That's the Atlanta-Tampa Bay over. And because I knew I was going to be on the show today, I got a special discount. We've got all 3 of our plays for only $19. That's a pretty good investment. And I've been number 1 in not only the NHL, but number 1 in Major League Baseball in the history of WagerTalk in net profit. So we've got 3 plays out there for Major League Baseball. Nothing in hockey today. And, of course, there's no NBA, but I probably won't have anything tomorrow either, as we await a really profitable area, and that's the playoffs. NHL and the NBA playoffs are the way to make money, and we're getting excited for that.
Oh, I love it. All right, Brian, $19, guys. The opportunity to grab all three of those plays at Brian Leonard's page now. Take advantage of it, and also the opportunity to add just about 33% more plays to anything in your card here. Pick your favorite handicapper any day, all daily picks, including 5%. You basically buy 7, you get 10. You buy 30, you get 40. You see how this works? And 33% more. Flex Picks is back. You got to love it. Grab your favorite handicapper and head over to WagerTalk.com right now. Throw it in the cart and check it out. All right, Brian, we appreciate it as always. Want to thank VR for hanging out with us again here today. Of course, Andrew Babakitis there at the Westgate laying it down with the UFC here tonight. And Sean Alvarez laying it out there. Great stuff coming up with the Kentucky Derby. In fact, make sure you visit all of these guys at WagerTalk.com. More importantly, we're 500 subs away from 200K. Do the thing with the buttons. You guys know how this works, right? Just hit it, subscribe, hit the like button. You're good to go. Get ready, of course. Glad to hear that Kelly, in fact, got the red eye and landed at about 4:30 a.m. Eastern time today. So she is absolutely passed out. I'm pretty sure of that, but she'll be back next week before she gives way, I believe, to Ariel Epstein coming in. She'll sit in this chair on Saturdays, guys, and carry you through the Major League Baseball season. It's been a pleasure. Good to see you guys. As always, cash those damn tickets, and we'll see you again next week for another edition of Last Call. Good luck.